Hi everyone. I want to make a quick review of a trade that I've done. It's a sort of a new addition to my channel, and that basically helps both me and I hope you will also benefit from it in order to show the thinking and highlight visuals on the chart that actually got me into the trade, what I did right and what I did wrong, and what I'm seeing developing from here. So this is chart of UUUU energy fuels. So we have quite some legs up, 1, 2, 3. If we just count this number of uptrends, that is actually within a very linear trend, respecting 21 EMA, almost just briefly touching it several times within this uptrend since April lows. So we see that the price, it starts forming a lower highs, a series of lower highs, within with being basically quite extended with almost 4 legs up. The more legs we have, the without a more substantial basing period for more than 8 to 12 weeks, the less likely the whole uptrend is becoming less and less strong. So the probability of the reversal or some sort of a pullback, at least to a lower levels of support, in this case the 50-day moving average is a good one, increases. So it got my attention, not to speaking about the marker structure that I was looking at in terms of the this wave structure that I'm tracking on stocks that I'm interested in. So it also looking at this whole structure, we see that the price reached key resistance, macro resistance levels, where it is more likely than not to have some sort of digestion. Also, coming back to strictly price action, we see a reversal, weekly reversal candle that happened on a quite substantial volume in the middle of October. Price also got quite extended from 10-week moving average that tends to support any sort of prolonged uptrend, multiple weeks uptrend. So that was also quite of a sign that this whole wave were becoming less and less strong, and so I was looking for this series of lower highs to be forming and price potentially to go deeper to test this at least 50-day moving average, and that's why it got me interested in trading it on the short side. Let's see how I were positioning on the intraday time frames. So we have this 5 I like to watch 5-minute intraday chart and also 1 hour chart, adding 65 EMA on 1 hour chart that helps to see this, this momentum shifts for on the intraday, swing momentum shifts, so to say. I initially was fighting the trend on this Thursday, October 30th. So actually not good trading from my side, because I was expecting price to reverse without actually having a confirmation from it that I'm looking for. By confirmation, I want to see the EMA in a bearish inclination. I want to see price actually coming to VWAP at least, or better trading below the VWAP, with EMAs following below the VWAP line. So I was fighting the trend here, having basically quite good sign in terms of the initial opening range breakdown that has basically failed on a high volume. Well, at least it was good. I think I better not be adding over here, because it's just in an uptrend, intraday uptrend, without any confirmation sign. So we better have that kind of crossage of the. I would like to have this EMAs crossing down, with MACD also not having this bullish slope and basically starting to look like this in terms of its persistency of decline. So I was fighting it and closed the trade over here, and I missed this day in terms of the start of the move. I didn't want to risk or the opening range breakdown, because it's with this market that we've been having for 7 months, it tends to not basically working, especially on the short side. Both on the long side is quite challenging. The opening range breakouts and breakdowns, they tend to fade the move. So it also got faded, and that was a very good point for me to start entering a position, but I was not looking at it at this moment. We have the MACD in very bearish slope. We have price retesting the E21 EMA on the 5-minute chart with volume declining. What I also like to see in terms of potentially persistently bearish trend inclination is the spike of the spike of the volume during the first 5 minutes, and the way price have been closing within the range. So price did close within the bottom of the 5-minute range on the spike of the volume, indicating that the sellers are present. Let us actually see how it did close over here. Well, it also did close on the bottom range. It's not a definite go sign, but it helps in building more conviction if we see any kind of a bounce, that potentially sellers that were selling here will be also interested to be selling over here. So and it happened also. We had the MACD in a bearish inclination, quite strong actually, not able to move into the bullish posture. We have price facing resistance on 21 EMA on 5-minute chart and starting rolling over. Well, I start positioning into the end of the day, opening my initial position here. I bought 500 pieces on 20 over here. I also bought on the pre-market because my hours where I'm living allows me to be witnessing what is happening over here. So I doubled my position over here, and basically this is the way I managed it yesterday and today in the pre-market. So I start closing partial of the position here, because all these dips, they got bought, and it did actually yesterday, with price basically retesting and even crossing above this logical stop area of a lot of day traders over here, and reversing from this. We also had a very bearish inclination. Price did try to move into the positive territory, but the selling was quite substantial. You see this volume that is bigger than previous days also. Price didn't close in the bottom of the range, but in the middle of the range, so sort of indecision and morning deep buying activity probably. So I did close over here expecting that kind of bounce, but unfortunately I didn't add it to my position back. I closed 250 shares only, and I could have added much more, actually moving into heavy positioning over here, and I was watching that to be developing in line, but I was dealing with the other stock back then, so I was not willing to increase substantial exposure. Basically, that potentially is a second mistake. So when once price got back below the VWAP with declining moving average also moving below the VWAP, this is a quite nice adding spot over here, with potentially risking only this kind of 2.5% move, basically 50 cent risk. And I just start peeling more and more profits into this move down, because that is, if we look on the daily chart, this is the second day of the move. I was expecting a third day of the move into this 50-day. What that is happening over right now, basically, we are trading below the 50-day moving average. So 3 days of aggressive selling is more than enough for me in terms of covering at least 60% and even more like this. I just opened 100 shares left with it, sort of a testing position to see how it goes, because we might expect any kind of a bounce to be happening from this level, potentially retesting the declining 21 EMA, and always this kind of points where 8 EMA is crossing the 21 EMA, they are quite often they take time to develop, so they do not happen immediately. They, like when the short EMA tries to go and starts trading below the 21 EMA, the price tends to bounce in a way, like letting this to happen in a more gradual fashion. And due to this 3-day pullback, I'm also expecting some sort of a bounce happening potentially in the coming days. So that's why I'm leaving only a very insignificant position left, just to see how it evolves from here. But anyway, that was a good trade with some kind of failing action from my side, both on adding and both on training it initially here. But anyway, I'm happy that I was positioned in the end of October, basically anticipating the start of the move. That was actually the start, in my mind, that was the start of the swing down. Well, it was not the greatest start in terms of price crossing below of the previous bar low, but it was basically a good lower high. Well, that's my overview of the trade. Thank you very much for watching it, and if you find it interesting, please feel free in commenting what you think of this trade, and potentially what you think that could I have done better, or what you liked in that regard. So once again, thank you very much for your attention, and I want to make it like a sort of a consistent basis, that helps me also highlighting the things that I did right and wrong. So see you in the next videos.